Should you start learning a soprano first? It's a great question and something that I get asked all the time from new people that come into Sax School. So today I want to share with you 3 reasons why soprano can actually be a really challenging instrument to start learning, and hopefully that will help you to make the decision whether you should start on soprano either as a new beginner or changing from another saxophone. Also, I want to show you in today's video about the gear that I'm using. So I've got this fantastic new mouthpiece from Jody Jazz. It's the Custom Dark. I'm going to show you what it sounds like and tell you a little bit about the projects that I've been working on my soprano lately. So lots to talk about today. So why are we talking about soprano? Well, something I hear all the time from new people who come into Sax School who are just starting out in saxophone. They say, the soprano saxophone, it's so pretty, it's so cute. It's bound to be easy to play, right? Because it's so small and I can take it on holiday with me. Oh, it's got to be a piece of cake. What a great, it's like a toy saxophone. It's a great place for me to start. It reminds me of learning recorder. I hear all those things all the time. Let me just tell you, you're completely wrong. Soprano is super difficult to learn. In fact, I would say it's probably the hardest of the normal 4 saxophones to learn. If you're thinking about baritone, tenor, alto, and soprano. Anyway, I'll tell you more about why I think it's difficult to learn in a second. The other reason why soprano is top of my mind at the moment is I'm busy working on my playing, writing some new lessons for Sax School that will be coming up soon. We have a lot of members in Sax School that are very interested in Kenny G, so I've been digging into the style of Kenny G, and in fact I'm going to demonstrate a Kenny G track on this mouthpiece in a couple of minutes. I actually think it's quite a good challenge to try playing music that's really outside of your normal comfort zone, and it's great fun, so it'll be interesting to see what you think about it too. Now, the other thing that's going on at the moment is we've got some new students in Sax School who are in our high-level accelerator coaching program, our personal one-to-one coaching program. And they're working on a couple of different ones actually that are working on their soprano playing right at the moment and working towards some big performing goals that they've got. So I'm enjoying working with them, as are the other tutors actually, on soprano skills. So it's been really good fun to dig out my soprano and get back into it. So here's the setup that I'm using on my soprano at the moment. This is a Jody Jazz HR Custom Dark in a 6-star tip opening. Now, Jody sent me over this mouthpiece recently, a few months back actually, and I've been playing it since then. Absolutely love it. In fact, I use the Custom Dark on all my saxes at the moment, and it's got a really great sound. I'll show you a bit more about that in a second. The ligature I'm using is fantastic actually. This is a Silverstein ligature. It's the Hexa. Now, I've been using Silverstein ligatures for years and they really open up the sound for me. You may not be able to hear the difference, but when I'm playing with one, it makes the saxophone a lot more responsive. And these new ones, the Hexa, it just is fantastic. And I think it's a great combination with this mouthpiece actually and the reed. So the reed I'm using is the Leger Signature, and I find a size 2 3/4 works well for me with this mouthpiece. Now, finding the right soprano mouthpiece can be really tricky, and I've been through quite a few. Actually, let me grab my mouthpieces and show you what I've been using over the last few years. Okay, so my first mouthpiece that I used for years and years and years, particularly back when I was doing lots of classical playing. I used to play with one of the symphony orchestras, the Queensland Symphony in Australia, and I used to use this very mouthpiece. So this is a Selma C-Star. It's a standard classical mouthpiece, and it's really easy to control, and you can get a lovely round sound. And actually, I was using this mouthpiece when I did the Englishman in New York video. You can check it out up here. I really do love the sound of this mouthpiece, but it doesn't give me a bright enough or big enough sound. So if you want to do anything that's a bit more commercial, it's quite challenging. Other mouthpieces that I've experimented with, I've got this Theo 1A, which is a Gaia 2, and this is actually in a tip opening of 8. It's quite a big mouthpiece this, but it is really, really lovely. And the other one that I've got is the Durga 3. This is also from Theo 1A. This is an amazing mouthpiece for a bright commercial sound. This is a size 8. And that's actually a really big, is it an 8? I think it's an 8. Yeah, it's a size 8. And this is a really bright mouthpiece, but it sounds fantastic. But for me, sometimes it's a little bit too bright. So I want something that's a little bit in the middle. Okay, let's talk about the first reason why learning soprano is difficult, and it's all about what we've just been talking about, those little mouthpieces. The thing is, a soprano mouthpiece is tiny, and that means that all the adjustments on it have to be so small in order to get them right. If you're a new player, like just brand new to saxophone, then it can be super difficult to find that right position on the mouthpiece that's going to give you the optimum sound, let alone setting the mouthpiece up with the reed and everything. And even coming from alto or tenor to soprano, you can find that transition really, really difficult. So just purely the mouthpiece size causes all sorts of trouble. Now, the second reason is actually connected to that first. It's all about intonation. And the reason that so many soprano players have got terrible intonation is because of the mouthpieces and because of the struggle that they have with getting the setup right. So if you're starting out in soprano, even if you're coming from another saxophone, it is so important that you spend loads of time working with a tuner or playing with backing tracks and being aware of your intonation. You need to be comparing your intonation with other instruments or a tuner, but also thinking about the tuning within the range of the saxophone. So with our students inside Sax School, we do lots of work on things like playing octaves or intervals of fifths over the whole range, but working with a tuner or with a drone or with a backing track so that you can compare those notes and make sure you get the pitches exactly right. And what we're really doing here is training our embouchure and our subconscious, I suppose, to know which adjustments we need to make so that when we move to that other note, upper leap, it's going to sound in tune and give us confidence as players as well. Now, the third thing that people really struggle with and why soprano can be difficult to learn is getting a consistent tone over the whole range. Now, there's a couple of things that contribute to this. The first thing that I see a lot of people doing is making a mistake with the mouthpiece that they start off on a soprano. This Durga is a fantastic mouthpiece, but it's not a good mouthpiece for a beginner player. So if you're brand new to saxophone, let alone soprano, a challenging mouthpiece like this Durga or a mouthpiece that's got a wide tip opening is going to be super hard to control, and it's going to be very difficult for you to get an even sound over your whole range. So you're far better off to go for something like this Jody Jazz Custom Dark, or even the Selma C-Star that I mentioned before, because they're just much easier to control. Now, once you've got your mouthpiece and reed set up correct and appropriate for you as a learner or a new soprano player, then you really need to spend a load of time on long tones and tone building exercise like beautiful slow melodies, not only in the middle range, but right down the bottom and right up the top, so that you can get a consistent, rich, beautiful sound all the way over your whole soprano. It's something that a lot of people neglect to get right. They either make the wrong choice with the mouthpiece or they neglect to spend the time really building those muscles to get a lovely sound, and that's why they struggle to get a beautiful sound. Right, I want to start demonstrating this mouthpiece so you can hear what it sounds like. But first, just help me out with a quick question here. What soprano player do you listen to that you'd love to sound like? If you are keen to learn soprano, what do you want to sound like? Let me know in a comment down below. Rightio, let's get stuck in and hear how this mouthpiece sounds. Now, I mentioned that I'm working on some Kenny G projects inside Sax School, and I'm actually writing a tune that we'll be doing with our members soon, actually in a couple of months' time. So as a template, I've been listening to and checking out the Kenny G track, Going Home. It's an iconic track from Kenny G, and in fact, some of our members in Sax School are working on that tune right now. Now, he's got a very certain sort of sound, and it was a challenge to try and get that sound on my soprano. So let's see if you think I'm getting close. I'm using the Jody Jazz Custom Dark 6-star, Silverstein Hexa ligature, and the Leger 2 3/4 reeds. Here we go. Hey, what do you think about that? Do you think that sound is getting close to Kenny G's? I think I need to spend a bit more time to get his vibrato right, because he has a very certain type of vibrato which I find quite difficult to replicate. But I think with some practice I can get closer. So let me know in a comment what you think. I'm certainly enjoying learning this new style, which is maybe a little bit outside my comfort zone. And it's going to be fun to write a song in that style for our members coming up in Sax School. So I hope you found that useful. If you are thinking about learning soprano, you know, I don't want to discourage you from starting, but just be mindful of those 3 points that I mentioned in today's video, and that'll help you to make a more balanced decision about getting started. If you're already a saxophone player, I think the transition to soprano is a bit easier. But whatever you do on soprano, make sure you choose a good mouthpiece that makes learning much easier. Now, of course, there's tons more on the channel here if you want to get some more help with your playing. So make sure you do go and explore on here. Also go and check out the stuff we've got on our blog. And you know what, if you're ready to really move ahead with your playing, come and join the thousands of students that we're helping every single day inside Sax School. There's a link down below where you can go check it out. And right now as I'm filming, we have a 14-day trial. So I'd love to see you in there and start helping you along with your playing too. Rightio, thanks for watching. Keep practicing hard, and I'll catch you next time.